let's get into our yoga practice. Find a seat that feels pretty good for you. I'm going to talk a little bit, and then we'll do a little centering and get going. I listened to a podcast recently with two of the founders of Sweet Green, which is I'm going to call it a chain of restaurants that offer locally sourced ingredients for salads and other mostly healthy whole foods. And it's been very successful. The guys who started it began from a dorm room at Georgetown University. And on the podcast, one of the founders, Jonathan Norman, was talking about pitfalls that they had along the way. And he said, you know, we really didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were getting into. We just knew the kind of food that we wanted to eat. So that's what we tried to do. And he said all along the way, they would just remind themselves to just go as far as you can see. And then when you get there, you can see farther, and then you can keep going. So I think Jonathan Norman might be a yogi, because this idea of going as far as you can see, and then once you get there, reevaluating, you can see farther, and then you can keep going, is a really yogic principle. So we have to practice being present and not just thinking ahead to the great plan that's out in front of us. I do think it's important to plan ahead and to create a vision for yourself, but often we hit these roadblocks and we can't see beyond the roadblocks. So we have to deal with what we have right now, and then work around that roadblock with the tools that we have at that moment. So today our practice is about being present in the moment, being present with the poses as they come up. As you know, in this practice, it's a flow practice. So we'll do a series of poses on one side generally, and then we'll do that same series on the other side. So the first side, you don't know what you're getting into, unless you've practiced with me a lot, and then you probably can predict. And then the other side, you know, but there's still that challenge to be present in each pose and not try to think ahead to whatever the end game might be. So let's start this practice of being present. Come into your comfortable seat where your chest is lifted, and then close your eyes. One of the best tools that we have for being present is our breath. It's always with us. We don't need a special recording or mala beads. We can always use the breath as a way to bring us into the moment. So take the next few breaths just to listen to and to feel your breath. Notice how your clothes feel against your skin. Notice the temperature in your room. Notice any sounds other than my voice in your room. Notice any aromas around you now. This noticing, this paying attention to what is happening in the moment allows us to keep going just as far as we can see now. And then when we get there, we can readjust. We'll be able to see something else and then go on from there. Bring your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. And make a commitment to yourself to be present with what's happening in your body as we move from pose to pose. To try to keep your thoughts centered on what we're doing in each pose and in each movement. Make a commitment to bring your heart into what you're doing so that you're not just moving through body postures, but you're actually putting your vital energy into each pose, into each movement. As you exhale, release your hands down and then gently open your eyes. All right, friends, practicing being present. We're going to be on our mats on hands and knees. If you're following along with the playlist, now is the time to press play. It's on Spotify under my name, EDYM428. Today's playlist is Virtual Yoga 5/5. It is Cinco de Mayo. I did not work that into our class, but the playlist does have a little Mexican and Latin flair to it. So find your all fours, knees steady, hands steady, and just notice how your body parts that touch the earth feel against the earth. Take a deep breath in through your nose. As you exhale, push it out through your mouth. Again, deep inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And then begin to move with your breath. So seal your lips, breathing in and out of your nose. Only exhale to cat pose, lifting your spine high. Inhale to cow pose, gently look forward. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. One more round here. Exhale, cat pose. And inhale, cow. And then come back to normal. We're going to work on stretching out the side body. So first the right side body. Draw your left shoulder back towards your left hip. Draw your right shoulder forward. Look back past your left shoulder. So get the right side body really long as the left side body shortens. And then inhale to center. Exhale, second side. Lengthen out the left side. Inhale, center. Exhale. Open up the right side. Inhale, center. Exhale, open up the left side. Inhale, come to center. Now we're going to twist. Take your left leg out to the left. Point the left toes straight ahead. As you inhale, take the right arm out to the right and up. And then as you exhale, bring that right arm under and across. Settle onto your right shoulder and right side of your head. You can stay right here. This might be plenty twist for you. Or maybe walk that left hand more towards the front of your mat and pull the left shoulder back as you rotate around there. On your next inhale, lift back up, planting your right hand at the front of your mat, and then bringing the left knee back in. Exhale, cat pose, and inhale, cow pose. Inhale, come to neutral, tighten up into the core, take your left leg out to the left, toes point straight ahead. That's your right leg, sorry, right leg out to the right. Inhale, left arm out to the left and up, and then as you exhale, bring it under and across. Land onto your left shoulder and left side of your head. Take a few breaths just to be here, and then if you want to exaggerate the twist, walk your right hand more towards the front of your mat and pull the right shoulder back. Breathing deeply into whatever parts of your body you feel. So bring your mental awareness right into what's happening in your body. And then on your next inhale, release the twist. Bring the left hand back up to the front of your mat, and then lower your right knee back down to the mat, all fours. So we're gonna sit back here. I'm gonna give you a couple of options. First option is to spread your toes as far apart as you can. So you're tucking the toes under and then taking your hips back over your heels. This is not going to work for everybody for their feet or for your knees. If your feet are the limiting factor here, maybe come onto the tops of your feet. If it's your knees, maybe double your mat up and then just stand on your knees here. So find your seat. We're going to take an eagle wrapped here. Take your arms out to the sides and then bring your arms into eagle arms. We'll take the right arm on top of the left and then press your palms together. If that's not quite working, you can press the backs of the hands together. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, think about cat pose. You're going to keep the eagle arms, but round the back like cat. Look down between your upper arms. And then as you inhale, lift back up. Unwind the arms, take them behind you, interlace the fingers there. Slide the hands down, lift the chest up, and then you might be able to lift the thumbs away from your low back just a little bit. And then inhale, release. Eagle arms now with the left arm on top. Take a breath in here as you exhale, cat pose with the back. Inhale, lift back up, take your hands around behind you. Interlace the fingers, other thumb on top. Broaden across the chest. Lower the hands down to begin, and then maybe you lift the hands up away from your back, keeping the chest broad. And then release. We're going to come to all fours. If your toes have been tucked under, lift the feet up and wiggle those toes around a little bit. Maybe roll the ankles around one direction and then the other. And then from hands and knees, we'll make our way to downward dog. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips up, stretch your heels towards the earth, lengthen out through the spine. Take a deep breath in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Now start to walk your feet up to the top of your mat and fold over your legs, standing forward bend. Take a couple of breaths here to move your head around a little bit, loosening up your neck. And then on an inhale, rise up to stand. Sweep the arms out to the sides and then take them up overhead. On your exhale, hands to your heart. We're going to do one more pose to lengthen the side bodies and also open up the shoulders and the triceps. So I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see me. You're going to stay standing. Take your right arm up overhead and then bend at the elbow so your right palm comes to your shoulder blades. You'll take your left hand behind. One option is to just have that left hand on your low back here. This might be plenty. If you have the room for it, it's still early in the practice, you can hook the fingers together. Take a breath in here, push down into that right foot. As you exhale, arc over to the left. So you're pointing that right elbow across the ceiling and over to the left. And then inhale, back up. Take both arms up overhead. And then exhale, sweep them out and down. Second side, take your left arm up, bend at the elbow. First option is just to bring the back of the right hand to your mid-back, around your waist. Second option is maybe hook the fingers, so listen to your shoulders. Try to be honest with yourself here about the difference between discomfort and pain. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, arc over to the right. Really push down strongly into that left foot as the left elbow reaches to the right. And then inhale, come back up. Take both arms up overhead, stretch up tall. And then on your exhale, hands to your heart. On an inhale, take both arms up overhead. On your exhale, forward bend, fold down. Inhale, lengthen forward halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. Ride your inhale into plank pose and ride your exhale down to chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, lift your heart up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look at the front of your mat and walk, step, or hop your feet up to the front of your mat. Fold over your legs. And then inhale, rise up, palms touching above. And then exhale, hands to your heart. When we come here, remember your commitment to be present. Try not to think back on what happened in the past, what you could have done differently, or try not to get too far ahead out into the future. Be with how you feel on your mat right now. Ujjayi inhale, take your arms up overhead, stretch up tall. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, stretch the heart forward. Take your vinyasa, stepping back to downward dog, or maybe jumping into chaturanga. And then flowing from there. Downward dog is the meeting point for us. On an inhale, lift your right leg back and up behind you. On an exhale, lunge your right foot up to the front of your mat. Warrior one, spin your back heel down to the floor. And as you inhale, sweep both arms up overhead, rising up tall. So notice how both feet feel against your mat. Take a breath in here. And as you exhale, circle your arms back behind you. So both arms reaching back and down. And then inhale, both arms up. Front knee stays right where it is. Exhale, back and down. Inhale up. Keep your mind connected to how your shoulders feel as you take this last arm circle. Take both arms up, lift the chest up here, a bigger warrior one, and then exhale, hands to your heart, twist to the right. So bring that right, bring your left elbow across, point your right elbow to the sky, rotate around. Notice what you're feeling here, being present in the twist. And then inhale, both arms back up to warrior one. Exhale, hands down to the mat. One leg dog, right leg lifts back and up again. One leg vinyasa, come forward, one leg plank. Exhale, lower, one leg chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring both feet up to the top of your mat. Fold over your legs, and then inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. You're going to stay standing on your left foot. Find a focal point out in front of you. Lift your right knee up to hip height. And then take both arms up overhead. Standing tall here, and we'll add a twist in. Take a breath in. As you exhale, you twist to the right. So you take your right arm behind you, left hand to your right knee. If you want to make this more difficult, you can turn your gaze back behind you. A little bit easier to keep your gaze out in front. Maybe start to straighten that right leg out, pressing the right heel forward. Bend back into the right knee. Keep the right knee lifted. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Exhale, foot down, hands down to your heart. Second side starts now. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, stretch forward halfway. Exhale, take your vinyasa, using your breath to flow from pose to pose, until you get to or return to downward facing dog. As you inhale, take your left leg high behind you. As you exhale, lunge your foot to the front of your mat. Warrior one, back foot roots, and then inhale, lift up. Try to square the hips here. So the left hip comes back, the right hip goes forward, open across your chest. Notice how the mat feels beneath your feet. Be present right here. Take a breath in. As you exhale, circle both arms as far back behind you as you can and down, and then inhale, straight back up. Two more full circles, exhaling to lower down and back. Inhale to lift forward and up. One more. When the arms get overhead, make your warrior one, a deeper back bend here, charge into both of the legs, lift up through the chest, and then exhale, hands to your heart. Take one breath in, and then exhale, twist to the left. Right arm comes across, left elbow points to the sky. Still trying to pull that outer left hip back. And then inhale, lift back up, arms up high overhead, and then exhale, hands down to the mat. One leg dog, left leg lifts back and up behind you. You have a one leg flow opportunity here. Two leg flow works, no flow works. Whatever it takes for you to be present in your practice. If too much movement pulls you out, then take it a little bit slower, take out a few poses. From downward dog, bring both feet to the top of your mat. Fold over your legs. And then inhale, rise up. Take both arms up high overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Now shift your weight into your right foot. Bring your left knee up to hip height. You got it. Take both arms up overhead. And now we add a twist. As you exhale, twist to the left. Taking your left arm back behind you, your right hand to the outside of the left leg. Try to stand tall here. Take a breath in. As you exhale, maybe kick that left heel straight forward, holding the twist as you do that. Bend back into the left knee. Now release the twist. Both arms up overhead, knees still lifted. And then exhale, foot down, hands to your heart. We're moving on now with a chair pose. Take a breath in, exhale, hips go low, and then lift the heart up high. Take a breath in, exhale, hands to your heart, twist to the right. Bring the left arm across, point the right elbow towards the ceiling. All you're doing here is just working that twist, being steady on both feet. You got it. And now on an inhale, release the twist. Hands down to the mat, standard forward bending. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, take your vinyasa, stepping to downward dog or jumping back to chaturanga. From downward dog, inhale, right leg high behind you. See if you can lift it a little bit higher this time. And then as you exhale, lunge the right foot to the front of the mat. Parshva Konasana, that side angle pose. So here, spin the back heel down to the mat. You're gonna take your left arm up and over your left ear. You have an option with the right hand. You can keep the right fingers on the floor or a block, or bring the right forearm to your right thigh. Right knee stacks right over the ankle. See if you can reach out a little bit more through your left fingers and pull the left shoulder back a little bit more. As you inhale, lift up to warrior two. Front knee stays right where it is. Bind your back arm, so bring it around behind your back. Maybe you work your fingers into the front hip crease. Reverse warrior, turn the front palm up and then reach back. Inhale, lift back up to your warrior two with the back arm bound. Here we're gonna take half bound side angle pose. So one option is to bring the right forearm to the right thigh and stay right here. Another option is to bring the right arm down on the inside of the right thigh. You can stay right here in the half bind, or if it feels right for you, go ahead and take the full bind, hooking the fingers together behind you, maybe grabbing your wrist, rolling that left shoulder back, maybe take your gaze up past your left shoulder towards the sky. And then inhale, release, hands down to the mat. We're gonna put weight into the left hand and rotate all the toes around to the right. So you're on the outer edge of the back foot. Reach your right arm back behind you and dip the outer left hip down towards the floor. 3 times, we're gonna arc up. So push the floor away, lift the left hip up, take the right arm across the ceiling and down towards the floor at the front of your mat. Inhale, lift back up, lower the hip down. Take a breath in here, exhale, lift the hip, reach up and over. Inhale, lower back down. Take a breath in, last time, lift up, reach the arm over. This time you're gonna take your right hand down to the front of your mat, turn all your toes to point forward. You're on the ball of the back foot. Runner's lunge here, facing the front of your mat. Take a breath in. As you exhale, straighten the front leg, fold into it. As you inhale, bend the front knee, high crescent pose. Take both arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down to the mat, straighten the front leg, fold over it. Inhale, bend the knee, take the arms up overhead, high crescent. One more time, hands down, straighten the front leg, folding over it. And then last time, bend the knee, lift up, high crescent pose. As you exhale, hands down to the floor, one leg dog. We're gonna do this together. Take the right leg back and up behind you. One leg vinyasa. If you're skipping the vinyasa, just come on down to your belly. We're all gonna meet on our bellies. Bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand, grab your foot, hug your heel in towards your hip. Just a quad stretch on the right side for a couple of breaths. And then exhale, release. Left side, bend the left knee, reach back with the left hand or use your strap, hug your heel in towards your hip. And then exhale, release. Stretch your leg back, make your way to downward facing dog. And bring your feet up to the top of your mat. Fold into your legs. Utkatasana, chair pose. Lower the hips down. Lift up through the chest, through the heart, through the arms. Take your gaze up even. And then press into the feet. Standing back bend here, lifting the chest up, taking your gaze across the sky. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Second side, you know it's coming, but try to stay with each pose as you enter it. Chair pose, hips down, lift up through your chest. Bring your hands to your heart, twist to the left, bringing that right arm across. And finding that nice twist. Inhale, release, hands down to the mat, straighten the legs out, fold over them. Inhale, lengthen forward halfway. Use your exhale to begin your vinyasa, hands at the front of your mat, feet at the back, in downward dog or chaturanga. Use your breath to guide you through being present, even though you've done this so many times, with each pose, with each movement. From your downward dog, inhale, lift your left leg high behind you, stretch it up, maybe lifting it a little higher, and then exhale, lunge the left foot to the front of your mat. Here we'll take side angle pose, back heel down to the ground. Bring your right arm right alongside your ear. Left fingers on the ground or a block, or left forearm on the left thigh, whatever gives you room in that front hip. As you inhale, lift yourself up to warrior two. As you exhale, bind the back arm, resting the back of the hand on your low back, maybe working your fingers into the front hip crease. Reverse warrior, keep the front knee where it is as you lean back, open up that front side body. Inhale, back up to the half bound, warrior two, and now we'll take a half bound side angle pose. So first option is left forearm on the left thigh. Second option is left arm down on the inside of the left leg. Whatever you've chosen, see if you can pull your top shoulder back. And then if you want to make the full bind here, you can, reaching under the left leg with the left hand, fingers grabbing one another, maybe your wrist, roll the top shoulder back, maybe take your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, release, hands down at the front of your mat, lift your back heel up. So we'll put a little weight into the right hand, turn all your toes to the left, and take your left arm back behind you, outer right hip down towards the floor. Take a breath in as you exhale, lift up, arcing your hand across the sky, and then lower back down. 2 more of those. Use your breath to guide you. Opening through the hips, through the side bodies. On that last lift up, bring your hands down to the front of your mat. Turn all your toes to the front of your mat. Take a breath in. As you exhale, straighten the front leg, fold into it. As you inhale, bend back into the front knee. Take both arms up overhead, lifting up. It's a back bend. Exhale, hands to the mat, straighten the front leg, fold into it. Inhale, bend the front knee, lift the heart up. One more time to go low, straighten the front leg. And then one more time to go high. Bend the front knee, lift up, open up. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. One leg vinyasa or 2 leg. We're all gonna meet on our bellies. From your belly, stretch both arms out in front of you. This will be a variation of Shalabhasana or locust pose. Lift your belly up away from the floor. And as you inhale, lift the arms, lift the legs. As you exhale, pull the elbows back. Stay lifted. Inhale, arms out in front. Exhale, lower down. 4 more of those. Inhale, lift. Exhale, elbows pull back. Inhale, stretch out in front. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, stretch arms out. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, stretch in front. Exhale, lower. 1 more, lift up. Pull the elbows back. Stay lifted. Take the arms out in front. Exhale, lower down. So right where you are, keeping your top of your head pointed in the direction it's in, just roll over onto your back. And hug your knees into your chest. You can rock across your back a little bit here, massaging those muscles you just strengthened. Keep your knees drawn in. Stretch your fingertips towards the direction your toes are pointing. So you're going to try to keep the knees drawn in for now. And we're going to slowly roll out to half boat pose. So try not to jump ahead and use momentum to get you into half boat. Take a breath in as you exhale. Lift your head, lift your shoulder blades, reach your hands out in front, and then start to stretch the legs a little bit forward until you can lift up into half boat. Are we there? Yes, we are. We're going to go back down slowly, rolling down, keeping your arms straightened out. Hug your knees back into a ball, but the arms don't hold the knees. Take a breath in. As you exhale, roll back up slowly to half boat. Breath in, exhale, roll back down, tucking the knees in. That's core strength that pulls the knees in. Breath in, exhale, roll back up. Half boat. Breath in, exhale, roll back down, pull the knees in tight. 2 more. Exhale, lift up. Breath in, exhale, roll down and pull the knees in. Last one, roll up to half boat. And then exhale, pulls you back down. Pull the knees in one more time. And then soles of the feet on the mat, arms down on the mat. Bridge pose, lift the hips up. Maybe walk the shoulders in under, maybe interlace the fingers. Open up the front of the body. And then as you exhale, release your bridge pose, lower down, straighten the legs out, roll back to your belly. Tuck your toes under, get your hands in place for chaturanga. Make your legs strong, shoulders strong, upper back strong. Take a breath in, just a little bit of exhale lifts you into chaturanga, and then full exhale brings you up to plank. Take the hips back, downward facing dog. Look up at the front of your mat and step or hop your feet about 3/4 of the way forward. Now we're going into crow pose. Hands at the front of your mat. Bend your knees, widen the knees out, clamp the inner knees onto the outer arms. Look out in front of you, bend the elbows, lean forward, pick up one or both feet. You're gonna lower your feet back down to the mat, pull the knees in, chair pose, it's the last one of the practice. Lift the heart up. Push into the feet, stand tall, standing, back bend again, opening up the chest. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Close your eyes just for a moment. Allow yourself to be present with what you feel here, with how your practice is unwinding. And then open your eyes. Inhale, take your arms up high. Exhale, fold down, forward bend. Inhale, stretch out halfway. Exhale, take your vinyasa. Breath connects one movement to the next. From downward dog, inhale, right leg to the sky, lift it up. Exhale, lunge it to the front of your mat. Come up to warrior two. Again, notice how the mat feels beneath your feet. Notice the muscles you're using. Notice the muscles you're allowing to relax. And then straighten your front leg, preparing for triangle pose. Take a breath in. As you exhale, reach the right fingers forward and lower them down to something, the floor, a block, maybe to your shin, and roll the top shoulder open. Strong legs, strong side bodies. Inhale, lift back up. We'll bend into that front knee. We're gonna go to half moon pose here. So I wanna show you a little trick. If you look at my back foot, in order to have a smooth transition out in front of you to half moon pose, if you wiggle that back foot in, so you close the distance between your 2 feet, it's gonna be a little bit easier to glide out and gracefully land into your half moon pose. It's harder if the feet are farther apart. So maybe try that trick, see how it works for you, and then we'll all meet in our Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So make sure you turn on your core here, turn on that lifted leg and foot, and then maybe start to lift your bottom hand off the ground, bringing it to your heart. Find your steadiness here, being in the moment. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, try to very slowly land back into warrior two. Foot reaches to the back of your mat. Good. And then on an exhale, circle your hands down to the mat. One leg dog, take your right leg back and up behind you. Bend your knee and twist open. You can stay here in the twist, or if you want, flip on over here, lifting your heart up. And then inhale, back around, one leg dog, lower your foot down to the mat. And take a child's pose. Lower your knees down, widen them apart, stretch your hips back. When we come into stillness, it's easier to have presence in the body because we're not having to move it or manipulate it. It can be difficult to have presence in the mind. So try to just notice with your mind what your body's doing, where you feel the poses. If one side of your body feels different from the other, because we've done a flow on one side, we'll get to the other side. All right, back up to downward facing dog. And here comes the second side. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Exhale, lunge it to the front of your mat. Come up to warrior two. Take a moment to be steady here. Noticing. And then start to straighten the front leg, preparing for triangle pose. I like to keep just the slightest bend in that front knee. Try not to let it drop down and lock out. Reach the left fingers forward and then down to the floor. Roll the top shoulder open. Maybe take your head back a little bit here. And then use an inhale to lift yourself back up. Bend into your front knee. And then here, we'll take that half moon pose. So work the back foot in a little bit, and then use your exhale to glide forward, standing on your left foot and your left fingers. So get really strong into that back foot and into your core. Find a focal point, and then maybe you lift some of the fingers or all the fingers on your left hand up. Maybe you bring your left hand to your heart. Take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, slowly step back into your warrior two. And then as you exhale, windmill your hands down to the ground. One leg dog, left leg lifts back and up. Bend your knee, twist open. Maybe you flip over here. And then come back around to one leg dog, and then we'll meet again in that child's pose. Take a breath here or take a few moments just to let the breath even out, to find steadiness. All right, we'll prepare now for our final mini flow. It's a repeat of what we've done, but we're going to add on a little bit to help you stay present. So come up to downward facing dog. Lunge your right foot to the front of your mat. Come up to warrior two. We're going to bind warrior two. So you might want to strap for this one because once we bind, we're going to keep the bind and add on 2 more poses. So from warrior two, it's actually bound side angle pose. Sorry about that. Right arm on the inside of the right leg. Reach it under the leg. Reach back with the left hand. Find your strap. Find your hands, your wrist. Whatever you can find there. Roll the top shoulder open. Bound side angle pose. Take a breath in here. As you exhale, straighten the front leg for bound triangle pose. Staying present where you are. And then start to bend back into the front knee. Keep the bind. We're going for bound half moon pose. So to make it easier, wiggle the back foot in, and then lean forward. Lean out over your right leg, working the right leg straight, and then lifting the right leg back and up behind you. Bound half moon. And however you can get out of that, release your foot down, release the bind, hands up the front of the mat. One leg dog with a twist just to open up the front of the hip here. And if you want to take a one leg flow here, now's your last chance on this right side, or take a two leg flow. All right, we're ready for the second side now. Lunge your left foot to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior two. And from here, bound side angle pose. Left arm inside the left leg, reach underneath the leg, reach back with the right hand, make your bind. Roll the top shoulder back, maybe take your gaze up to the ceiling. From here, we keep the bind and straighten the front leg for bound triangle pose. And then bend back into your front knee. Take your gaze down to the front of your mat. And to prepare for the bound half moon pose, wiggle the back foot in so you close the gap between your feet. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, lean out over your left leg, working the left leg straight as you lift the right leg back and up behind you. There you go, you got it. And then slowly start to unwind out of that pose however you can, coming to downward dog, and then from downward dog, one leg dog, take your left leg back and up, bend your knee, twist open, just to open the front of the hip here. And then it's your last flow opportunity here. One leg, if that's what you did on to end the first side, or two leg, you decide. And then let's take a child's pose together. Stretch the hips back. Let your energy sink down into the floor, settling in. All right, lift yourself up to hands and knees. If you know forearm stand and you want to take forearm stand, you're welcome to do that on your own. The rest of us are going to work on a type of inversion that has a bind in it. So you might want to watch me do the first one. This is a two-sided pose, so I'll do it on one side, and then we'll all do it together before we go to the second side. So we start on all fours. You'll bring your right elbow down to the ground and just bring your left hand out to the side. We're going to move that left hand, so just park it anywhere you want. You'll tuck your toes under and lift your hips up. And then start to walk your feet in. You want to take your gaze to the mat. So get a steady gaze wherever it doesn't give you vertigo to look on your mat. You really want to walk that left foot in as much as possible. And then the left hand will reach back and grab the left leg, or if you can, down to the left ankle. Stay steady with your gaze, and then that right foot will walk back and back and back, and then you'll lift that right leg up into the air. And this will be our inversion on one side. And now let's do it together. I'll talk you through it. So we'll start out on hands and knees. If you're in the forearm stand, good for you. If you don't like this pose that we're about to do, take anything that feels like an inversion to you. Come down onto your right elbow. Park your left hand out to the side. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees up. Start walking your feet in. Find your focal point on your mat, and then reach back with your left hand to grab your left leg. It can be higher on the leg, wherever you can find a place to grab. And then start to take the right foot back, working it back and back. And then you won't have any more mat underneath the foot as you lift that right leg high to the sky. You got it. Lower your foot back down and then come on up out of the pose. All right, let's try the second side. I'll turn around so you can see the second side here. All right, so now from all fours, we lower the left elbow down and park the right hand out to the side. Tuck the toes under, lift the knees up. Find your focal point on your mat and then walk the feet in. It's especially the right foot. You want to get as close in as you can. Take the right hand back, grab on where you can, and then start to work the left foot back until you don't have any mat under the foot anymore. Once there's no mat under the foot, lift the leg up. Lifting it up as high as you can, using the muscles on the back of the leg to help you. And then to come out, you lower your foot down. You got it. All right, let's take a seat on the mat. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Take your arms up overhead. Deep breath in, and then as you exhale, drape your torso over your legs. Folding down. Letting the upper body relax down into the legs. Stretch even the back of the neck here. On an inhale, lift back up. Pull your knees out to the sides. Bring the soles of the feet together. Stretch the chest up, and we'll take another forward bend here. Folding forward, trying to take your chest or your chin down to your feet. Folding over your legs. Letting go of maybe how the poses could have gone for you and being with just this pose in this moment. This is what you can see now. This is what you can do now. And then inhale, lift back up, bring the knees together, and then you'll roll down onto your back. If rolling onto your back doesn't work, roll to your side, and then come on to your back. We'll take Shavasana here, so stretch yourself out. If you're following along with the playlist and you haven't quite gotten to the last song, now's the time to fast forward. Once you've landed in your Shavasana, let's take 3 cleansing breaths. So big inhale through your nose, strong exhale through your mouth. Big inhale, full exhale. Last one, really open up the body with the breath, and then exhale, let it all go. Now that your body is still, bring a deep awareness to how it feels. The mat or the floor against your back body. Clothes on your skin. Notice the sounds around you. Notice the aromas in the room with you. Feel the rhythm of your breath and the beat of your heart. And be present with what you have in this moment. Deepen your breath. Tune back into that rhythm of your breath. Wave your fingers, wave your toes. And stretch. Take the arms overhead, reach the legs out a little longer. Open the body fully, front, back, and sides. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, roll to your side. Take a moment here to honor yourself for having a vision for where you want to go, where you want to be, while you still honor where you are in the present moment. On an exhale, bring yourself up to any comfortable seat and close your eyes. Join your hands together in Anjali Mudra again. Honor your ability to be present, to be with your breath, with your body, mind, and heart. And let's send that energy that comes from being present with yourself, of knowing yourself, to all of those who are in need of a boost of energy, all of the essential workers, the healthcare workers, those who are sick, those who are supporting the sick, those who are supporting those of us who are able to stay home. The presence in me bows to the presence in you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.